Today we are solving the problem alternating work days, which is from the October lunchtime. It is a simple problem. So we'll see the problem statement. The problem statement here says that Alice and Bob are two friends and initially their skill level is 0 and they work on alternative days. That is, if Alice is working on odd number of days, then Bob will work on even number of days. So that's what it is given. It is not given in any specific manner that whether Alice is working on even days or Bob is working on odd days. Nothing as such. They can choose to work on any of the days. Whether Alice can choose odd or even, and Bob can choose the other one. So it is that way. Now the skill level of Alice and Bob will increase by A, B respectively. So for Alice we have that the skill will increase by A, and for Bob we have that the skill level will increase by B, because initially the skill level is 0 and it will increase according to the number of days that they work. So suppose that Alice worked on day 1. So on day 1 her skill level will increase by A. Then again Alice worked on day 3. So again her skill level will increase by A. So that means if Alice worked for suppose 2 days, that is on day 1 and day 3. So her skill level will become 2A. Similarly for Bob, say Bob worked for this even day, that is on day number 2. So that was his first day that he has worked, right? So his skill level will here increase by B. So we can say that the number of days they work, that many times their skill level will keep on increasing according to that. So if Bob also works for one more day, that is on the 4th day, so then his skill level will become 2B. If Bob works for one more day, that is on the 6th day, then the skill level will become 3B for Bob. So this was the explanation of the problem statement. Now what we have to find out in this problem is that we have to determine if it is possible that the skill level of Alice and Bob become exactly P and Q respectively on some day. So we want that Alice's skill level should become P from 0 and Bob's skill level should become Q from 0, and on any particular day. So it is not like they have not given a particular day when it should happen, but they only want to know whether it is possible or not for Alice and Bob to achieve skill level P and Q respectively. So to find that out, let us make some observations. So the first thing is that like suppose Alice, so if Alice is working for suppose 3 days, right? So it doesn't matter, like it was given in the problem statement that Alice can work for even number of days and Bob can work for odd number of days or vice versa. But here it does not matter who is working on which day. What matters is that for how many days they are working for, and this matters for you to understand the solution. So here Alice, if she's working for 3 days, then what will be her skill level? So if she works for 1 day, then her skill level will increase by A, right? So that's what it's happening, that if she works for 3 days, then her skill level will increase 3 times. That means it will become 3A, and this means that she has worked for 3 days. Similarly for Bob, what will happen if Bob works for say suppose 4 days, and then what will be the skill level of Bob after 4 days? After 4 days, the skill level will become 4B, because it will keep on increasing by B for every particular day. So for 4 days, it will become 4B. Now, if we want to find out that for how many days they have worked, right? And why do we need to find that out? Because we want to know whether Alice can achieve P skill level and Bob can achieve Q skill level or not. So we want to know this, and in order to know this, we have to find out that like how do we find out that for how many days they will have to work in order to achieve this skill level? So here, as you can see that if they are working for say suppose this 3A, this is the skill level of Alice, and if we want that this skill level should be equal to P. So now in this equation you can easily determine that how will we find out that for how many number of days Alice has worked. So here Alice has worked for 3 days and 3 will be equal to P divided by A. So similarly what it means is that this equation P divided by A, this equation will give us the number of days it will be required for Alice to work so that she can achieve this skill level P. Similarly for Bob, we can say that Q divided by B, and this division, it means that the integer division, or you can say that the floor value of both of these. So we will only pick up the integer part or the floor value of these divisions. So P divided by A and Q divided by B will give us that how many number of days Alice and Bob will have to work to achieve the skill level P and Q respectively. Now how do we find out that whether they can achieve this skill level or not? So the first and foremost thing that you need to keep in mind is that this particular this A and this P, they should be multiple of each other. Basically this P has to be a multiple of A, because here what we are doing P divided by A, right? And if P is not a multiple of A, then anyway this skill level cannot be achieved, right? So suppose for example, if P is equals to 25 and A is equals to 5, right? So 25 divided by 5 will give us 5. That means for if the work is done for 5 days, then this skill level 25 can be achieved. But suppose it was 26. Suppose P was equal to 26, and now we divide this 26 by 5, that is A. Then it will not give us the exactly a decimal. It will give us a decimal answer, but it will not give us an exact integer. It means we will not be able to determine the exact number of days that the work has to be done to achieve this skill level. So it means that P has to be a multiple of A. So the two conditions that you will have to check is that if P is if P modulus A is equal to 0 and Q modulus B is equal to 0. So these two conditions will determine that at least P is a multiple of A and Q is a multiple of B. Only then it will be like there will be a possibility that Alice and Bob can achieve this skill level. Now you will say that if these two conditions are true, then our answer should be yes, means they will be able to achieve the skill level. But there is one more thing that you need to keep in mind in the solution is that Alice and Bob are working for alternate days. Now what does that mean? So it means that suppose if let me write down the counting. Okay. Now let us see. So if like suppose Alice worked for 2 days, okay, and Bob has worked for 1 day, then they are there is no gap in between, means they are constantly working, right? So then the solution can exist, means if Alice worked for 2 days and Bob worked for just 1 day less. So you can think of it as that Alice works for n days and Bob works for n minus 1 days. In that case, the solution can exist. Now, if Bob works for the 4th day, now you can see that Alice and Bob both are working for the same number of days. So if Alice is working for n days and Bob is working for n days, in that case also the solution will exist. Now let us see that like Bob, now we will take that Bob is working for a day extra. So Bob is working for if Alice is working for n days, so Bob is working for n plus 1 days. So then also the solution will exist. But now in what case the solution will not exist? Means they will not be able to achieve the skill set. It's like, let me write down 7 and then 8. So if Bob works for 1 more day, Now here what we are seeing, that Bob is working for 4 days and Alice is working for how many days? 2 days. Now the difference in the number of days that they are working is 2. Now if this difference is 2, if the difference is more than 1 in the number of days that Alice and Bob are working, in that case we will not be able to say that they will be able to achieve this skill level. Why? Because it is given in the problem statement that they work on alternative days, right? And here you can see that there is a gap, means they are not working on alternative days at all, right? Here also Alice is not working, here also Alice is not working, so this is not working on alternate days. So that is why this solution would not exist. So what we have to check, what will be our next condition? This is going to be our first condition, this will be our second condition. What will be the other conditions that we have to check? That if P divided by A is equal to Q divided by B, that means the number of days Alice is working is equal to the number of days that Bob is working. This is the third condition that you have to check. Now what will be the fourth condition? Either this should be true, or the fourth condition is that P divided by A minus Q divided by B should be equal to 1, and the absolute value of this part. So the absolute value of P divided by A minus Q divided by B should be equal to 1, because P divided by A and Q divided by B is giving us the number of days that Alice and Bob are working respectively, and the number of days, the difference can be 1 or it can either be equal, but it cannot be anything else. So that is why we have to check these 4 conditions. These 2 conditions are a must, means they have to be there under AND operator, and between these 2 conditions one of them should be true. This will be your final condition that you will have to check in order to find out that it will be a yes or it will be a no. That means whether they will be able to achieve this skill set PQ or not. So the condition is that P should be a multiple of A, Q should be a multiple of B. This has to be there, this has to be true, and then either of these conditions can be true. That is the number of days that they will take to achieve the skill set. It has to be either equal or it has to be either the difference has to be 1. So in no other conditions they will ever be able to achieve that P and Q skill set on any day apart from these conditions. So for your example, I have also taken this sample input and sample output. So here we will try to see 1 or 2 examples. So let us pick up this last example first. So this sequence is given in A, B, P and Q. So here let us check if P is a multiple of A. So 9 modulus 3 will give us 0. Then Q is a multiple of P. Yes, 25 modulus 5 will give us 0. Now we are checking, let's write it down. So 9 divided by 3 and 25 divided by 5. Okay. So 9 divided by 3 will give us 3 and 25 divided by 5 will give us 5. So are they equal to each other? No, this condition is false. Is the difference between them equal to 1? So the absolute difference between them is also not equal to 1. That means that this case can never be achieved. That is, on any day, Alice and Bob will never be able to achieve 9 and 25 respectively. So that's why the answer is no. But if you see this test case and if you try to put it in this condition and try to find the answer, then you will get a yes, because see, 4 divided by 4 and it is 6 divided by 3. So you can easily tell that P and Q are multiple of A and B, and 4 divided by 4 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the absolute difference between these two is 1. So that means that Alice and Bob will be able to achieve the skill set P and Q on some day. So that's why the answer is yes. So similarly, you just have to put this condition and you are good to go. So let us also see the input, output and constraints here. The first line will be the number of test cases, and then for each test case we will have A, B, P and Q. So this is how the input will be given. This is for the number of test cases, and then these are A, B, P and Q respectively for all the 4 test cases. And in answer you have to print yes or no according to the solution. So yes and no can be printed in any format, like they can be capital letters or it can be lowercase letters, so all will be accepted. The constraints are up to 10 to the power 9 the values of A, B, P and Q can be there, but since we are just we just have to check in one if condition that what will be our answer. So it will be in order of one time complexity, because we are just checking one if condition. There are no other operations in this problem. So I hope guys that the problem and the solution is clear to you, and if you have any doubts or feedback, then you can post them in the comment section. And now we will discuss the code in Python and in C++. So guys, if we talk about the code of this problem, then it is going to be pretty simple, because we just have to use one if condition and we will reach our answer. So the first we will see the code in C++. First few lines are the inputs. So I have taken input for the number of test cases, then a loop for including all the test case, and then for each test case we are taking input for A, B, P and Q. After that you can see that there is this condition which is checking what we want. So first it is checking if P and Q is a multiple of A and B respectively. So we have placed an AND operator here because we want both of these conditions to be true. After that here we are checking, this is the condition which is checking that the difference in the number of days that Alice and Bob have worked, that it should either be 0 or it should be 1, the absolute difference. So that is what this is checking, and only one condition has to be true in order for the answer to be yes. So that is why we have placed an OR condition here. And you must be wondering that I am doing P divided by A here. This is the division operator, but I am not using any math.floor function. So it is not required, because P and A both are integer values here. We have defined the data type as integer, and Q and B also. So if the data types are integers, then you do not need to do math.floor in order to get that integer part of the division. It will by default take only the integer part. So that is why here any other function usage is not required. And then we are also using this absolute function to calculate the absolute difference. So I hope that it is very clear to you, and then we will just print a yes if the condition is true, or in the else part we are printing no. And this \n is important because it will help us keep each and every solution of every test case in separate lines. So that's it, that's the code. I have already submitted it once and got an accepted answer. So I hope that you could also get the same for yourself. And now we can also discuss the code in Python, since most of you, many of you have seen code in Python. So this is the code in Python. So it would exactly be the same thing that we did in C++. Here we are taking the input. So I hope that you know how to take input for multiple variables in Python if they are in the same line. So we are using this split function because they are space separated integers in the same line. Now we are using this if condition. So you can see that the if condition is exactly the same, only what has changed? Only the operator has changed, because in Python AND operator it is in the form of a written English word. So we have placed AND here, and this OR has also changed. So the operator convention is different because it is a different language. And what other thing has changed is the division operator. So here we are using modular division operator. So this division operator only helps us take the integer part, because in Python you know that there are no data types that we can define, right? So if you use a single division operator, so if suppose you use this division operator, then in that case your solution will not work because it will take the decimal value. But if you want only the integer part to be taken, then you have to use this floor division operator. Sorry, I said earlier modular division. No, this is floor division operator, and in Python we have to use this. And you don't need any floor function, but you can use this floor division operator. So that's the only difference. Rest, the if condition remains the same, and then we will just print yes if this if condition is true. So here you can see I have printed y in uppercase and es in lowercase, and same for no. So this is also accepted. We can print yes and no in any case, uppercase or lowercase, all will be accepted. So this also, let us submit this here and see if we get an accepted answer, because for the C++ code we had already done that, but we will see this for Python as well. So we are getting accepted answer. I hope that the solution is clear to you, and please like the video if so, and I'll see you in the next one.